Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. My name's George Otiende. I head the retail banking division in Diamond Trust Bank, and we are excited to have you all around. I hope all of you can hear me. We welcome you to this session, and it is an exciting session. Every year we run the DTB financial literacy training, and this training is targeted to business owners to provide you with the capacity to run your businesses efficiently. We have a very solid panel of trainers with vast experience in business management and running SMEs, who we will be calling upon to help us with the training and to guide the members. So just quickly to put some house rules and to keep you updated on how we are going to run the financial literacy training. Number one, we have 8 modules. These 8 modules have been revamped. We have picked topics that are relevant to business owners in Kenya today. And the trainings will run every Thursday for the next 8 weeks, where we will be discussing different topics. We will be calling different panelists to take us through the various subjects that are of interest to SMEs. And of course, we have an exciting bonus module where we will only invite the people who have attended 5 or more sessions. So I would encourage all of us to make sure we attend all the sessions. The bonus module will be an exciting module. It is a surprise module with surprise panelists, but I believe it will be an exciting one, full of insights around the SME space. Of course, I would like to acknowledge our partners, Kenya Bankers Association, who have been walking this journey with us since we started these trainings. And without much ado, I'd like to welcome Roslyn Gino to say a few words about KBA and the Inuka Enterprise Program. Then we will proceed from there.
Thank you so much, George. It's really a pleasure to be here with you all today. As you've mentioned, yes, we've partnered with DTB with this financial literacy training under the Inuka Enterprise Program. Inuka is a capacity industry-wide program that is geared towards de-risking SMEs to enhance their capacity to access bank finance. And it is really a pleasure to have DTB on board in terms of enabling SMEs to understand some of the critical areas that can help them to unlock finance. So on behalf of KBA, we're really pleased to have you all on board today. We have a very seasoned trainer by the name of Annabelle Baruguru, who will be taking you through leadership and ethics. And I believe you will have a very engaging session. So please do engage with Annabelle. She's also a business lady, so she'll be able to give her insights based on firsthand experience. So thank you so much, and we do look forward to this session. Over to you, George.
Thank you, Roslyn, for those few remarks. I think for me, then I would quickly go into the DTB side, and I would like to introduce the credit guarantee scheme. My session will be less than 10 minutes because we've spoken about the credit. I think we just need to remind ourselves about it. So the credit guarantee scheme really is a product that was developed between the banks and the National Treasury to promote enterprise growth by enabling access to quality and affordable. So if you look at the MSME definition as per the Public Finance Management Act, we look at any, please go to slide 3. Yes, thank you. So when we are looking at MSMEs, stick to slide 3, please. Yeah, number 4 there. The micro enterprises are enterprises with turnovers that range between 0 to 500,000, have less than 10 employees. And in terms of sector, they must have a registered capital of the enterprise does not exceed 10 million shillings if you're in the manufacturing sector. And if you're in the service sector or farming sector, then it should not exceed 5 million. When we are looking at small enterprises, we are looking at players who have a turnover of around 500,000 to 5 million and employ between 10 to 50 people. If they are in the manufacturing sectors, then their turnover does not exceed 50 million. If they're in the service sector or farming sector, the turnovers do not exceed 20 million. And of course, finally, the medium enterprises that have a turnover of less than 5 million up to 500 million and up to 100 million. Again, these are enterprises that employ between 51 to 250 people. And in the manufacturing sector, their turnover should not exceed 250 million. And in the service sector, their turnover should not exceed 125 million. So with the credit guarantee, because it is a partnership between DTB and the National Treasury or the government of Kenya, we say that we are targeting the registered MSMEs. So for you to qualify, first of all, is you must be a registered business. And I think this is a very important requirement, so that then we are dealing with a formal business, not informal business. If you register your business, you tend to formalize it, and therefore you tend to put a lot of things in order. And we can work with you even as you open your accounts with DTB. We can help you with the registration process, so that then you formalize the business. In terms of the maximum loan amount that we can give under the credit guarantee scheme, it's 5 million shillings, and the tenor therefore is 36 months. Businesses have a grace period of up to 5 months of no payment or interest payments only, determined by the borrower's cash flow, so that as you come and you want to access these funds, if we give you the funds, we are able to give you a grace period during which you will be able to set up your business or to buy your stocks, start growing your business. And once your cash flows start streaming in, you can then start making your payments. So really, it is a moratorium that we give to our customers. I know if you borrow, traditionally, you walk into a bank and you borrow money and you want to make early repayment, there is usually a requirement that you will be penalized for early payment, the prepayment penalty. Under the credit guarantee scheme, we are not allowed to charge any customer a penalty for prepayment. So if your cash flows are positive and are growing well, and you'd want to liquidate your loan earlier than expected, you are free to do so. And we give you up to the full value of the loans. You can actually make prepayment up to the full value of the loan that has been given. And definitely all credit facilities meeting the MSME credit facility criteria must be registered with the scheme. So if you come to us and you want us to facilitate you through the credit guarantee scheme, we will ensure that you meet the requirements of the MSME credit guarantee scheme as outlined by the National Treasury. Another thing that it is important to note under this particular credit guarantee scheme is that real estate business is excluded. So the focus really is to drive manufacturing, service sector, and agricultural sector, as we had explained earlier when we were clarifying what segments and what limits do we look at for the various sectors. Next. I know the question in your mind is then how do you qualify for the credit guarantee scheme? So to qualify for the credit guarantee scheme, you must be a registered business. That is number one. Number two, you must be tax compliant. So you must get the TCC, the tax compliance certificate, meaning you have a PIN, you are paying your taxes every year, you file your returns every year, and therefore you will be able to get your tax compliance certificate. We are looking at turnovers of up to 100 million or less. If you are in the medium enterprise scale, you must have, which is the maximum number of employees you should have, is 250 employees or less. You should not be part of a bigger corporate, so you must be a standalone business that is applying for this facility. You cannot be part of a group that is big. You must be for 2 years, or if not in 2 years, you must present a viable business proposal that the bank can look at and therefore lend based on the proposal that you provided. Critically and crucially is the purpose of borrowing, which is limited to working capital, acquisition of assets, or rebuilding your business after natural disaster or other financial crisis. So that is very, very crucial. And therefore, you can get overdrafts from us. You can get term loans from us. You can get asset financing from us. And that must be directed to supporting the business that you are running. I don't want to take a lot of time, and I think we will be having a lot of conversations around the credit guarantee scheme. And I know most of you have approached us. Last year, a number of you applied, a number of you qualified and are still enjoying the facility. So the conversations can still continue outside this program. And therefore, you can always talk to us. Our informations are on your screens. You can talk to Gopa Kumar, who is our head of business banking. You can talk to me, who heads the retail banking, or Shazad Karim, who heads the corporate banking division. We've indicated our email addresses there, or you can visit our website to get more information about this product. But we'd like to hear from you. If you want any of our branch managers or our relationship managers to come and talk to you about the credit guarantee scheme, you can leave your notes or your contact in the comment section of this program, and we will definitely get back to you. I know there will be a lot of questions, and as guided by the trainer, I think we will take these questions towards the end of the presentation. So without much ado, the topic for today is business leadership and ethics. And to take us through the business leadership and ethics is Annabelle Waruguru. Annabelle has been with us for a long time. And Annabelle is a corporate business management consultant and counselor. She is an associate partner of the PSC, Open Space and Alternate Consulting Limited. She is an IFC certified trainer and has 11 years of consultancy and training experience across various areas such as entrepreneurship, business development, and leadership. And I think she is the right person to kick us off on this exciting journey. So Annabelle, karibu sana, and I hand over the mic to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, George, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you also for welcoming our participants for this great session. And we are happy to have all of you on board. We are also happy to see our partners, Diamond Trust Bank and Kenya Bankers, journeying on with us as we continue to empower each other through the training journey, continue to share our experiences as great people who are making the difference in our country and in our world at large. So thank you very much, and you're very, very welcome to this session of business leadership and ethics. And I will start by saying that leadership is not something that you can actually take in one session. It's something that you can take for a long time. You can spend the whole of today and you can go on till tomorrow talking about leadership. And why do I say so? Because we are all leaders in our own capacities. We are all leaders in our own species, wherever we are, be it in our businesses, be it in our homes, be it in our own lives, we are leading in one way or another. And therefore, this session on business leadership and ethics is just on the highlights of those areas that we as business people, or as these people who are making a difference, like George has already highlighted on the need and the contribution that is made by the small and medium enterprises to the growth of our economy, to the global economy at large. I want to appreciate you. So in this session, we shall just be having those highlights, looking at those key areas. And therefore, this session or this module is just about an overview of leadership. It's about the emphasis on leadership in business, whereby I've already said that we are all very important in our roles that we play, in the kind of businesses we have selected, in the kind of businesses we are managing currently, and what we even aspire to do in the future. So you're going to touch on that, and you're also going to look at the leadership attributes. What are those maybe areas, or what are those things that a leader should do so that they can make a difference, or even if you're making a difference, be able to make a difference effectively. So you're going to look at those attributes that you and I should wear as leaders so that we are able to even propel ourselves to where we would like to be in our businesses, in our personal lives, in our family lives, and wherever else. And we're also going to look at the power of influence in a leader, or the power of influence in leadership. And I'm going to spend a lot of time in this because leadership influence is very key. It's actually almost it covers everything about a leader. So I'm going to emphasize a lot on that. And then we're also going to touch on how we lead, our styles. How are we effective in our styles? Or maybe can we take stock, can we reflect on how we are leading currently so that we can see whether we are giving a balance on all the styles, whether we are able to make a difference to those, not only those that we encounter outside of our business, but also on those that we rely on to take our business or to grow our businesses. So I'll look at that. And then we're also going to look at authentic and ethical leadership, where we are going to see in this, because you're calling this module leadership and ethics, about the need for authenticity and ethical, and asking ourselves, is this good for business? Is this good for us? Is it good for our lives? Is it good for our own well-being? And then thereafter, we shall have a conclusion. So that is how the module looks like. And in the next 2.5 hours, or less than that, because we have about now, it's 10:24. So I'll try as much as possible so that I can take you through all these areas, and so that you can be able to have a discussion, you can continue communicating with each other. We have learned that even in online training, we can still communicate with each other. Therefore, even in this session, there are certain times that I will be asking you to take stock. I will vary my training style so that I'm not just lecturing. We'll also play some clips as you go along. And so welcome on this journey as the leader today. And why then do we have to take this module? As George said, and as Rosalind said, as they started this, when they started us off, they said that we are looking at those areas that are very critical for our own, the well-being of our businesses, and that of also, I'll emphasize, our own well-being as individuals. So what this leadership analytics module does is it just provides you insight on how you can successfully lead your teams effectively, and because the teams that you have at the workplace are who determine where your business goes. These are the people who actually make you or make your business have a future. Because there are businesses, as we have said in the other phase of modules that you had sometime last year, we said that there are businesses that never seen that birthday. Why? Because we have not been able to lift ourselves off from the ground based on some things that maybe we didn't have the awareness of what we could have worked or we could have touched on. Probably the small things that we ignored that would have led to our businesses seeing that birthday and beyond. So you're going to see on the need to lead our teams effectively. And when I touch on the area of influence, you're going to connect this with this more. You're also going to see, you're going to also be getting ways or having discussions around how we can implement business strategies that now give our businesses the future. Businesses that the strategies that will give will mark the path. And this was done as a whole module by my colleague Degwa, and he really went into the depth of business strategies and business planning. So in this leadership module, you're also going to touch on how does then the leader touch on those areas that will now be able to ensure that the strategies that we have in place are working for our businesses, or that we have put the strategies in the right areas, or further than that, we are also not only having something in paper, but having something that is practical. So this leadership module is about that. And like I said, this can take a long time, but you're going to just provide you with insights on that. We're also going to be looking at how to boost staff morale, which is what I said in my first bullet on leading teams effectively. It's very important for you as a leader to be concerned about the well-being of your teams, of the motivation, their well-being. How do you boost it, even as you also boost yourself? Because even as you're doing this, you're also looking at how to lead ourselves as well. And then finally, we are going to look at see how to improve productivity and better decision making. Whereby we are not saying that everything starts and stops with us. You can actually see that we are looking at others. As leaders, we just provide the direction. But in leadership, we cannot ignore the fact that you as a leader will not do it alone. And so a leader works with followers. A leader just provides the leadership, so to speak. You take the lead, but you also have to be concerned about how those who are behind you or those who are part of your business are also fitting on your shoes, taking on the right step. So that is what the module is about, and asking ourselves as a first question, who is a good leader? Who is a good leader? And as we say this, we are also asking ourselves, are we good leaders? Are we leading as we should? And then we also ask ourselves as we go on, how much of leadership do we see around us? You just come from elections. So this is something that is on the mind of every Kenyan, if I'm just addressing Kenyans, but even all around the world, we are always looking up to our leaders. So who is that good leader? Who is that good leader? Well, who you would love, who you as an individual would want to emulate? And then how much of leadership do we see around us? And I want to tell you as early as now that leadership is around us wherever we are. And leadership is something that it's in every spheres of our life. It's in every moment of your life. Whenever the second ticks, you are leading. You are leading yourself. You are leading others. You are leading the future. And that's why we are saying, and I can say this comfortably, that there's so much leadership around us. But what is it that we choose as us, as human, as individuals? And what is it that we choose? What legacy do we leave or do we make of the kind of leadership styles or the kind of leadership that we did with others to desire to do what we do? So as we are having this conversation with one another, we are also going to, at the end, ask ourselves, then who is that good leader? What is in that good? What is in that leader that stands out that others would want to emulate? And even as we are asking ourselves, if there is that good leader, how about me as an individual? How am I doing? What am I doing so that I can be that leader? So that I can improve on how I'm leading. And therefore, we are going to have this conversation. And before we go on, I want us to just look at something that actually confirms that leadership is around us. And after we have seen this, we are going to also ask ourselves, maybe because we may not have the opportunity to touch base with each one of us, we are many participants, but maybe just make that reflection on, is leadership around us, and have the answer at the end. So I'm going to play a clip, and then we as we journey on in the training. So let me know that you can see my screen. Is sound clear from your end?
Yes, Annabelle.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Annabelle. We can't hear the sound on the video. Yeah, now we can. Sorry.
Okay. Leadership is around us. That's my concern, or that is what I started by asking. I believe by following the clip, you'll be able to see something. And maybe, I don't know what you've noted. I can just have one or two, and then we push on, and then we move on. Probably from as Myra and from George, just what have you noted? Did you see any aspect of leadership from the clip that I played?
Yeah, so Annabelle, for me, I think what really resonated is that, a lot of people think leadership is just in the office or, but just like the slide here says, leadership is all around us. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your boss or, the president or any politician, but it's in every aspect of your life.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that feedback, Asmaira. And probably as you played what you played, I don't know whether you're able to see some animals in the water. I hope you're also able to see the birds in the air. There's also some leadership. There's an aspect of providing direction. There's an aspect of providing insights for those who you are working with or who are behind you. And that is why we say that leadership is around us. And even in nature, there is leadership. And this is just to confirm that in all our areas, in all that we do, there is leadership. Wherever we are, wherever you are at this moment, wherever you are even taking this from, there is leadership around us. And therefore, it's a beginning and an end that in our lives, there is leadership. And there is so much to see around us that helps to shape us as leaders, that helps us to shape the future of our businesses, that helps to shape the future of even those that who we lead, who we call followers in this case. And I want to now give us just some overview of leadership, whereby I'm saying that leadership is that ability to develop, the ability to develop a vision that helps to maybe to steer others or move with a passion towards a common goal. And we're also saying that is that ability to influence others with or without force. I said that I'm going to dwell a lot on influence, ability to influence others with or without force. And these are very, I would say, a loaded phrase, because we can influence others with force, we can influence others without force. But as I started by saying, how are we leading? Or what is that good leader? And how about you? So what would you like, or what would you like to do as you make a reflection on ourselves? Leadership is also ability to help people achieve things that maybe they thought or they see as impossible. And then leadership is influence. And as you influence, as you in whatever space you are in, being able to influence others, being able to influence decisions, being able to influence a certain direction that your business would like to go is a very important component of leadership. And leadership does not stop at just influencing. Is that also willingness to stand up front and be the target or the hero, or take responsibility of goals, of the results that you want. So in essence, what you're saying is that just like we've seen in that clip, there is a certain form of direction that comes from the leader that the followers look up to. And at times it means being able to stand up front, and this is where you can say, I am willing to take the bullet. I don't know how many of us would be willing to do that, or is it that maybe when there are difficulties as leaders, we take a back seat? But the true leadership is being able to stand up front and be the hero, be the target, take responsibility for not only yourself, but also your teams, and also for the results that you want to achieve. A leader leads by example and has the integrity to do the right thing even when it's not popular. And this is also something I would say is loaded, because there are many times that in our businesses, probably we are driven in some certain direction when things are not working well. We have just emerging from a very, very serious crisis the last 3 years, where we've gotten, we've been able, we were faced by change that we were not ready for. I would call it crisis. And I don't know how many of us still stuck onto what the true leadership is. I don't know how many of us still were ethical in the kind of practices that we do. I don't know how many of us were still upheld that integrity. Because and so that you can, when you provide the leadership or you provide the direction, then those who are with you are able to also follow through. So that's why I say it's about also being able to do the right thing, even when it's not popular. Yeah, that's according to Mark Lighty. Then we also have leadership as 3 things: listening, inspiring, and empower. You'll find that in leadership, we don't just stop at growing the business or just stop at results. We are also looking at those that are with you. So listening to others, listening to your team members, listening to your clients, listening to the people that you partner with, inspiring them, empowering them is very, very critical for a leader. And any leader who does not have this as part of their ingredients of leadership, then does not win well. And the main definition of a leader, which is what all this is directing us to, is that it is someone who follows. And when you talk about followers, it's not just about people who are working for you or who are working with you. People who are willing to follow you, follow. So someone will follow us. So people who have you lead and others come behind you, irrespective. And this is now where we start at, we now look at business in leadership. I mean, leadership in business. And I want to start by saying that no business can function without leadership. And I believe that we are here as part of the leadership of our businesses or the sole leaders of our businesses. And we, just like we've seen from that clip, and just like from the interactions that you're going to have in this module, you're going to see that we note that leadership exists at every level, which is what I've come from saying in influencing, in inspiring, in listening to others. You're providing the guidance, you're providing the motivation, the clarity of the direction, of the purpose, of the goals of the business, inspiring confidence. Yeah. And whether this is now whether you're saying, whether they are fellow employees or the people that you are at the same level, wherever you are, there is leadership. And as the person who has been tasked with your business, by yourself, by the organization, if your organization has gotten to that level where you have many departments, you should ensure that leadership exists at every level, that there is guidance taking place at every level, from the lowest to the highest, that there is motivation, that there is clarity, and that there is inspiration. And that's why we say that how we impact those who are around us and how we act even in crisis affect the success of our businesses, of our organizations. And what determines that is our leadership style. And along the way, we are also going to give attention to what are those styles, what are their leadership styles. And we also want to say that there are those who are born leaders, yeah. But even if you are not born a leader, you can embrace, you can integrate the lessons that we learn today, or those ones that you learn along the way, because we've just come from saying that leadership is around us. And if we allow ourselves to learn from whatever experiences that we have, to learn from whatever encounters that we have within our businesses or even outside of our businesses, by embracing these lessons, we are making it better so that we are able to also learn from our mistakes. It is not to say that when you're a leader, you're always right or you're always doing the right thing. There are also those times that there will be mistakes. How then do you learn from those mistakes, and also ask ourselves, how does my behavior impact on others? So what I'm saying here is that you may be born a leader, you may not be born a leader, but leadership is something that can be learned along the way, creating that interest. And that is why clarity along the way, guidance along the way, motivation along the way is very, very critical for you as a leader. So in business, this is very important, which takes us then to what are those skills that you require? What are those skills that you require in business? I've just come from saying that the lessons that in leadership that we have are diverse, are everywhere. So there is no single characteristic of quality that defines or points to a good leader. But everything that we do as leaders is a lesson. Everything that we do as leaders provides the roadmap for the growth of our businesses. But what leadership skills enable us to do is to be able, of course, to make effective decisions. When I say that there is no single characteristics of quality, I'm not saying that there are no characteristics or qualities that our leader should have. Indeed, there are very many. So it's about what works for you. It's about what works for your situation. And so what the leadership skills that you learn along the way, which point to where you are or what you want to achieve for your business, and for those that follow you, and for those that you serve, including your customers, including the community, because when you come to leadership ethics, you're also going to see how important also making an impact on our communities is key. So making more effective decisions that determine where we are going, determine where we are at, and also how we are impacting on our followers, and also talking about our own selves. At some point, I'll also talk about self-leadership, and also leadership skills enable us to also focus on our own personal visions. And when you talk about your personal vision, you may have started your business as a small entity, but along the way, it has become something big. And this is what keeps driving you into growing, into pointing to a direction of now coming from that small space where you started to something greater. So focusing on your vision for the business, on your own personal vision, and incorporating others along the way will now help you shape that vision, shape the mission of your business, so that you even not only get comfortable with where you are today, but also where you want to be in future. And so leadership skills also help us to progress towards achieving your own goals that, of course, are stem from your vision and your mission for one's business growth. So there are 5 essential skills that a leader should work towards, and which, as I've talked about, is about your life as a leader is drawn around others, is drawn around communicating with others, communicating with, and also it's also drawn around the future of your business, and therefore communication is very critical. Communicating with those that you serve, and those that work for you, who we are calling followers. Another leadership skill that you should have, very essential, is motivation, which I've already come from emphasizing on, that the morale of your business team members is very critical. So being cautious of their motivation, or how to motivate your teams, and when you talk about motivating, we not only talk about the external motivation, where it's not just about the results. How about also the internal intrinsic motivation, about the inside of the person? And motivation, of course, starts with our own selves. Are we motivated for our businesses? Are we motivated for where we are? And are we also looking ahead, so that you're not saying, I am stuck here, I am no longer motivated in my business? It's something that you need to tap onto every day as we go along. And of course, positivity, even when things are not working well. Positivity about journeying on in spite of odds and ends that we encounter along our business journeys. And feedback is critical. And feedback may at times be positive and also negative. And that's what we've come from saying, that learning from the mistakes that we make, because we'll come across times when things don't go well. It's not every time that we satisfy our customers. This was really dwelt on in the marketing module by my colleague Degwa. But that feedback about from your clients, from even your followers, and from whoever that you partner with, feedback is very critical. And that is, and it doesn't just stop at getting that feedback, but how do we then respond to that feedback in terms of our business, in terms of serving those who are very critical for us. And of course, creativity. We do not stop at I created my business to just focus on this line. Along the way, we incorporate feedback from even the market, the people that we serve, and being creative at also looking at what's working. The technology has done has played a very key role in this, because there's certain things that you can learn from others, there's certain things that you can learn from even other parts of the world, and also being responsive to the needs of the client. So creativity is very critical, and for you as a leader, if you are to stay in business, if you're to stay successful, if you are to create empires that are going to last even beyond our lives. So five very critical leadership skills that we would work towards. And I also want to say that there is no one that defines you as a leader. So what you're saying is that along your journey as a leader, you ensure that you are going around this and much more. And I also want to emphasize that every journey, the journey of leaders, the journey of businesses is different, is individual. So you look at what's working for you, and you look at what you then can uphold so that your business has a future, has some presence that will be felt by generations to come. And that is why I want to now go to the next statement, which I will repeat in this module very, very many times. And I believe it is just to speak to us that the essence of you as a leader, the essence of leadership is being able to help others succeed and make a difference. And you help others succeeding by first accepting where you are at, by first also accepting your role as a leader, your role in your business. And as you do that, and as your business grows, as you expand, as you diversify along those areas of creativity, along the many other products that you'll include as in the journey of your business, about helping those who are making it happen, helping them succeed and being able to make a difference. And this difference you're not just making to ourselves, but you're making to the world. Because when we start our businesses, we don't want to just stop at what I said. If you started from very humble, you had very humble beginnings, that does not limit your business from growth. So as we grow, as we journey on, as we lead our businesses, as we lead our teams, we should help others succeed and make a difference. And that is what will also, in return, help us succeed as leaders. So I'll repeat this every so often in this presentation, because it's very important for you as a leader. Having looked at skills and having seen that your journey as a leader incorporates, it's around those 5 skills, and also it's around making others succeed and also making a difference. What are those attributes that a leader has? What is it that a leader should be very, very concerned about for your business growth? And the first and foremost is having a guiding vision. It's about knowing what you want to do. And knowing what you want to do you don't just know, but stop there, but having that strength of character to pursue the objectives of your business. So this is what guides you. Having a guiding vision. At any one time, do you know what you want for your business? Do you have that character to pursue those objectives? Do you have the right machinery in place to pursue those objectives? Yeah. So this speaks to us, because when you as a leader loses track of your vision, or loses track, or you're not in touch with what you want to do in your business, then you find that even our followers will also, we may also lose track. So you as a leader have got to have this continuously speaking to you, the guiding vision. At any one time, determining what you are doing, and whatever you're doing, is it good for your business? Can it be done better? Learning from our mistakes, learning from others, having our ears on the ground at all times. And the next thing is passion. And these two work together, because having that vision that will determining what you want to do, and what we are going to do to pursue those objectives. Then it's about also believing passionately in those goals, believing passionately in those objectives that you have set for the growth of your business. And on top of that, having a positive outlook. And whenever we do something passionately, you always get good results. And being passionate does not mean that you not come across challenges along the way. You will, but being able to pick yourself together and still fight and still drive yourself towards achieving those goals. So having a positive outlook is very critical. Having integrity, and having integrity involves knowing who you are. Do you know you? Do you know how you lead? Do you know yourself well? What are your strengths? What are the opportunities around you? And integrity does not stop at just knowing who you are. It's about also being aware of your weaknesses. And being aware of your weaknesses doesn't mean that you dwell on your weaknesses. No, it's about working on improving, working on getting out of your weaknesses, or leveraging on what you can, on your strengths to improve your weaknesses, or to get to even overcome the weaknesses that you have and the threats that you have in your business. So that's very critical in a business, the integrity. And when you come to authentic leadership, which we'll deal with later, in ethical leadership, a lot of this, I'm going to connect this with integrity. And about another aspect or another attribute of a leader is honesty. It's about having that aura of honesty in both your professional and personal lives. Remember what I said when we started that business. I mean, leadership is around us. Wherever we are, there is leadership. So how about you in your personal life? Are you emulating honesty? Are you also are you a true representation of an honest leader? Are you a true representation of what your business represents? So honesty is a very critical aspect of a leader. And you find that honest leaders attract honest followers. Dishonest leaders will attract dishonest followers. So what does that mean for your business? And this is something that a conversation that you want to keep having with ourselves and with those that we lead. Then about trust of your followers, having to act on their behalf at all times, because for the good of your business. So earning that trust of your followers, and when I do ethical business, I'll also dwell on that. Curiosity. Now, what does curious mean? You know, curious may be a very loaded word, but curiosity is about being learners. What is it that you need to do? What is it that you need to improve on? We say there is no end to learning. Here we are. I'm amazed at the number of participants that you have online who have joined into this, who have joined us so that you can journey together with Diamond Transfer, who are a very, very special partners. Because learning has no end. There is no time that you can get onto a certain, you know, like for example, let me just use this that you have right now. You may have gone into so many trainings, or you may have even done a lot of learning yourself academically on leadership. But there is always something that we learn. There's always that one thing that you learn if you purpose to. So a leader does not stop at what they never get. They never feel that I know enough, but it's about finding out what you need to do and seeking more and more knowledge, more interactions, more mentorship programs with others so that you can learn as you also teach others. So curiosity is a very important attribute of a leader. Another important attribute of a leader, and I remember covering this when I took you through, for those of us who did the first module, which was entrepreneurship. I remember dwelling on this area of risk, calculated risks. An entrepreneur never washes their hands off risks. We take risks every day, and these risks are necessary to help us achieve our objectives, and not only stop at that. And even go further than what we have set to achieve for our business, because there are some risks that we take that open even bigger doors. You may have been trying on something, probably something that you have learned recently, but it opens greater doors for you. So calculated risks. Again, you're not seeing that we take risks up to the tune of closing our businesses. We are taking risks that are calculated, and also being careful not to affect the future of our businesses, learning from our mistakes and using them to explore other avenues, even like I've said about being aware of our weaknesses and leveraging on our strengths and opportunities to be able to overcome those weaknesses and to overcome whatever threats that we have in our businesses. Dedication is about being dedicated to your work and working on behalf of the business and on those that you're following. Because like I said, you lead and others follow. So if you're dedicated, you will attract followers who are dedicated. And so set the pace, being dedicated at all times to your business, to your own personal and professional life, and you'll see that your business will grow and grow to even the lengths that you may not even have envisioned. Charisma, it's about conveying maturity, respect for your followers, having a compassion, a fine sense of humor, and love for humanity. That's what charisma is. That's what maturity, respect, and compassion, alongside humor and the love for humanity. And charisma is one of the an attribute that many leaders don't achieve, but it's something that you should set your mind to achieve. It's being all-rounded. In charismatic leaders, I like giving the example of the former American president, a very charismatic leader, yeah, Barack Obama. Mature, respect, and compassion, a fine sense of humor, and the love for humanity. And I believe as leaders, we can achieve this, however difficult it may be. And what you're saying is that every day, work towards achieving that with your followers, with those that you are impacting on, including the communities, to have that, to be a charismatic leader. And last of all is being a listener. This is the most important attribute of all. Listening to people, listening to those that you serve, listening to those that you work with, listening to those who will make a difference in your business. At this point, I want us to just reflect on leadership and then ask us, how are we leading? And ask us, how do we view influence in respect to leadership? I'm yet to touch on the meat of influence, but from your own point of view, how do you view influence? And maybe ask us, how can the leader effectively influence? From our own space, what is it, or how are we leading? And we take stock, even as I also take stock of I, as an individual, as Annabelle. How am I leading? And those that I'm leading feeling the impact of my influence? Am I leading effectively? Am I effectively influencing those that I impact on? Those who benefit from what I do? And what is my view on influence? Can we influence positively? Can we strive to influence positively, even being too aware that influence can also be negative? What is our focus? And even as we reflect on this, I want to say that leadership seeks improvement through change. And that's why there is never end to learning. There is never an end to making changes with our businesses or where we see there is need to have to rework things. You seek improvement. So leadership is a never never-ending journey. It's a never-ending journey as a leader. You will seek improvement, you ought to be aware. And that's why I talked about, as one of the skills, a business skill, creativity, improvement. As you're being creative, you are improving your business through changing certain things. And of course, change does not happen overnight. Change is something that you have to also be very intentional about, and also be very cautious so that it does not affect the outcome of your business, or that does not affect the relationships with those that you are supporting, or those that who benefit from your business. So that's a reflection that I want to give you just 1 minute, strictly 1 moment to reflect on. Seeking, just asking us, wherever we are, where are we, how am I leading? And is my leadership, is my influence being felt? And then after exactly 1 minute, where we are taking that reflection, I'll move to influence. Believe in this moment of quietly just reflecting on us, reflecting on our journeys as leaders, reflecting on how we are leading and how we are making a difference. Remember, I said that the journey of a leader should be where you are. You want to make a difference. You want to support those who look up to you, and to shape the future of your business through that. And so that is why we improve through change. So I want to go to the next thing. I believe we've been able to make that reflection, and maybe at the end, we shall share what are some of those moments that we are reflecting, and how these moments that we are reflecting on speak to us as individuals and for our business at large. So what is influence? And why is influence important for the leader? Now, influence is about influencing leadership. Leadership is about influencing a group of people. And I've already touched on that. And a group of people, including our followers, including those that we serve, including the community. The power of influence in leaders. Is there a power of influence in leadership? Now, the main definition of a leader, which is, if you recall when I started this, my second slide, there was leadership is influence. Yeah, leadership is influence. And Peter Drucker says that the main definition of a leader is someone who has followers. Who are these followers that you have? Those followers that you have, are you influencing them effectively? Is leadership influence? As you took that moment of reflection, did you see yourself as an influencer? Did you see yourself as someone who has made a change? As we have seen that business leadership is about making improvement through change. How are we leading? Do you have followers, and what kind of followers do you have? He who thinks he leads but has no followers is only taking a walk. Wow, that's a famous quote. So I want to emphasize that in leadership, and that is where is the beginning of the influence journey, that a leader has followers, and followers are in many forms. And I said the leadership journey is different for everyone, is individual, is specific with what your business starts to achieve, what you as a person are passionate about, what you as a person does in order to make your business a success. Now, leadership is an influence process whose effectiveness is a function of the qualities of one, the leader, that is you. I've said leadership is specific to you, to those that you lead, those are your followers, and the situation. And that's why I said it's a process. Just like leadership is a process, The influence is a process that is driven by those three or determined by those: the leader himself or herself, the followers, and what situation that we're talking about, so that you can see the power of influence you will have on that situation. I also want to say that influence is key to successful leadership. For you as a leader to be successful, influence is very key. And my emphasis this time, or this point, is on positive leadership, positive influence. An influence as leadership, an individual influencing a group of individuals to work towards the achievement of a common goal, which they consider desirable. So in this process of leadership, there is where you want to go. There is your goal, there is your strategy, there is your business plan in place. In order to achieve where you want to go as a business, in order to achieve the objectives or the goals of your business, then you got to influence a group of people who will then help you achieve that, who will back you up in achieving that, who will support you in the achievement of that goal. And that is a goal that you have set, the mission, the vision of your organization. This was covered in the body of strategy. So you, as a leader, then you influence so that you don't, when I say positive influence, it's about then that achievement in the right direction. You influence so that you can achieve that goal. Yeah. So that is what influence is in that process. So there is your work of having people along, having people on board to help you achieve that. So influence is powerful for the leader. The leader may sell idea, may motivate people to support and implement decisions. That's just one of the ways that you influence. You influence by, remember all those attributes I've talked about of a leader, all those very, very critical attributes of a leader. Honesty, yeah, charisma, yeah, positivity, listening. How do you then influence people around you? How do you motivate them to support you and influence this journey, your strategic goals, your strategic your strategic objectives in order to achieve this? So influence is critical. And influence in this situation is in respect to those who will be on board to help you support that. So true leadership then incorporates empowering those teams, motivating them, leading by example, offering the right support, because you're not influencing them so that they just stay stuck and cheer you on. No, they also have their roles. So you're leading by example, which then helps them to support them in their achievement of your objectives, your organization objectives, working towards reproducing future leaders. You don't just stop at empowering them and leading them and offering them the support. At the opportune time, then people fit in your shoes, and you then reproduce future leaders. You delegate some of the roles to them because they have been able to fit into what you are looking for. You have nurtured them along the lines of what you want for your business. So, and when you do that, then you're able to produce future leaders. And this is the mark of any successful leader, being able to produce leaders, future leaders, and motivating people to support and implement decisions, which is what I've said in the previous slide. So empowering, leading, supporting, and reproducing future leaders. All this is influence. And you can see that when you do this, your influence, the power of your influence is in the right direction, because when you have future leaders, then your business will have no gap. In those moments when maybe you have to step out, maybe you have to travel, maybe you have to do something else outside of your business, even as you diversify, then you have been able to effectively influence your team members. Then you have leaders who can step into your shoes when need be. If you grow your businesses to a point that you then can open probably branches, or you can open sister organizations, then when you have influence in the right way, you have empowered teams, you have led by examples, you have supported them, then these leaders can then take on your responsibilities. And that is why how powerful influence is. So what is an influencer? What are those aspects of influence that are very critical for the leader? I stands for integrity with people. Yeah, integrity with people. N stands for nurturing other people, which is what I've come from mentioning. You nurture them, you lead them, you support them, you build them to what you would like them to be, up to a point that they can fit in your shoes, they can be the future leaders. And F stands for having faith in people. Then L stands for listening to people. I've already mentioned that. As an attribute, as a skill, they are all very, very critical, and they form part of influencing. U for understanding, E for enlarging. And you find that there are two E's. There is enlarging and there is empowering. N for navigating for other people. C for connecting with other people, and connecting is very important. Part of positive influence. Part of creating an organization culture where you can talk to each other, where you can smile with each other, where you can crack jokes with each other, all in the lines of business. E for empowering, as I already said, and R for reproducing leaders. So when you think, so when you incorporate all these aspects of you as a leader, integrity, nurturing, faith, listening, understanding, enlarging, navigating, connecting, empowering, and reproducing new leaders, then you can comfortably say that you are influence, that you have the power of influence as part of your DNA. And I also want to touch on some aspects of, or some insights on influence. I started by saying that leadership is influence. I want to say that leadership is influence, and I repeat, leadership is influence. It's influence because of all those aspects I've touched on, from I, N, F, L, U, N, C, E, R, all those aspects. So that actually constitutes leadership. If I take you back to these aspects of leadership, the I, the nurturing, the integrity, nurturing, faith, listen, understanding, enlarging people, navigating, connecting, empowering, and reproducing. It actually is what a positive leader does, or a successful leader does. So leadership is influence. Our leadership with others is usually not in all areas. No one can influence in all areas. And because we are individuals, what are those areas that you are able to influence others? What are those areas that you need to work on to influence others? With influence comes responsibility. Yes, indeed, and that is why you cannot influence people in all areas. You cannot influence, you can only control what is of you. What is it that you as a person can control? You may not at any one time control everything that others do, but you have the power of influencing. So with influence comes responsibility. Think about all those aspects of I, N, L, F, L, U, N, C, E, R comes responsibility. And your influence with others is either positive or negative. But I believe as leaders, we shall strive to influence others positively. And our influence can grow, just like we cannot influence in all areas, our influence can grow. And people of positive influence add value to others, value to your business, value to your well-being. Because when you see that you have been able to influence to a point that you are even reproducing new leaders, where you see that you have influenced such that the people that are following you have grown the business, then you can say that I am positive. So if you have positive influence, then you add values to others. So in our own day-to-day life, it's important that we keep reflecting on these aspects of influence that are very, very critical. And I want to emphasize some influence, some of the areas of influence that are very critical. And one of them is growth. Our influence from others, our influence can grow in others. Now, growth, if you have to grow your organization, first it starts with growing yourself. And growing yourself, we start by learning learning something every day. In psychology, we say that at the end of every day, you should ask yourself what you have done, even if it's one thing. Never end the day without having learned one thing. And you can learn great lessons from our mistakes. You can learn great lessons from interacting with others. We can learn great lessons from even results that you get from our business. But at any one time, ensure that every day you grow yourself. Growing people, when you grow yourself and you stop there, then you're not going to grow your organization. But by growing others, by nurturing them, which is a power of influence that we've already come from seeing, then you are able to grow your organization. So our journey as leaders cannot stop with just us. Our journey as leaders cannot just stop at giving orders. Our journey as leaders cannot stop at just supervising or giving or looking at performance reviews. No, it doesn't. It will stop at you growing yourself, growing your people, and growing people involves a lot, because you're not growing one person. Okay, if you grow, there are people who have an advantage. If probably you started with maybe one member of staff in your organization, and now you have incorporated others along the way. Those who have the advantage of having started with you will grow with you. So you grow as you lead and others. So what I'm trying to say is that human beings are diverse, and the way you grow this individual is not the way you grow the other. So there is a lot of responsibility that comes with this. But if we have to grow our organizations, then we have to focus on growing not only ourselves, but growing people. And growing people is growing them inclusive of their weaknesses, inclusive of their shortcomings. We are not going as leaders to always be hiring, bringing on new people because we have hired people in our organizations. Then you'll find that you'll be mark timing. And where you want to go as a business, that may be hampered if you keep on bringing new people on board. So growing yourself and growing others, there's a lot of responsibility that goes into it for you as a leader, but eventually you're able then to grow your organization. And I believe no one would want to stop at where they are. You don't want to be. You want to go further than where you are in your business. And that's why I want, in growth of ourselves, our teams and our organizations, there is that aspect of reproducing. How does a leader reproduce? I started by saying leadership is influence. I also say that the best definition of a leader, according to Peter Drucker, is someone who has followers. So how do we then reproduce followers? Now, 85% of leaders attract followers. And you may attract followers who just follow you. And when they follow, there are some who will maybe fall along the way. But 85% of leaders of the world attract followers. Then from there, you're working with a percentage. The next 10% of leaders attract leaders. So there is the aspect of attracting followers. There is the aspect of attracting leaders. What is the percentage remaining? The remaining percent is 5. In that 5% of leaders, reproduce leaders. As part of influence, we want to reproduce leaders. 85 attract followers. That's okay. 10% attract leaders, but 5% reproduce leaders. And so I go back to asking us, where would you want to be as a leader? You want to be with the 85 that attracts followers? You want to be with the 85 that attracts leaders? You want to be with the 5 that reproduces leaders? Leaders who will be your tomorrow. Leaders who constitute the growth of your business. And where would you rather be? And as you're asking this, where are you currently? In what bracket do you fall? Is it in the 85? Is it in the 5? Is it in the 10? Is it in the 5? And I know if I ask for a response from us, many would want to be in the 5. Am I correct? I believe I am in saying that we all want to be in that bracket of 5 reproducing leaders. But reproducing leaders comes with responsibility. Reproducing leaders comes with commitment. Reproducing leaders comes with all those skills that you really have to be concerned about, and also wearing the right attributes. Leading by example. Being at times ready to bite the bullet yourself. Being able to take on even a negative feedback and working to make your organization, to grow your organization to the next level. So I believe many of us would rather be in the 5%. But what does it entail? It entails more work. It entails more commitment. It entails being on our toes, being cautious of what you are doing, being cautious of what we represent, being cautious of the well-being of those that follow us, even as we also take care of our own well-being. I've said when we grow our organization, we grow ourselves, we grow others, we grow the organization. Being cautious of that at any one time. And then the effective leader avoids negative influence. I said the first insights I gave you in influence, I mentioned that the effective leader avoids negative. I said that influence can be positive or negative. So the effective leader will avoid negative influence. And how can we negatively influence? I know there are many times where we have to influence negatively. I am not saying the journey of a leader is smooth. No, it's not. Just like I said, when I took you through the human resource module where we were talking about people, I know even at the end, the comments, some of the interactions we had is that, it may be then too hard. You cannot always have positive results. And indeed, yes, even with us as leaders, we cannot always have people giving us an easy time. Organizations that grow, that are able to grow, self-grow others, and grow now the organizations, sometimes have passed through very, very difficult moments. And there are times that you as a leader influence negatively, all depending on who you are leading, or depending on the level at which your followers are. But I will say that we will avoid negative influence at every time, because negatively influence also may also impact on us negatively. And what are those negative, some of the way that you can influence negative? That is, we can use force. I mentioned that a leader is not just about acting force or doing forces. Yeah, using a gun pointed at others so that they can act, so that they can be committed to their cause. But what I'm saying is that at what level are your team members? At what level are your followers? So that now you know this is now the only way to influence on them. I said negative influence can be positive or negative. So one of the negative ways to influence is force. But in the beginning, especially when people are getting accustomed to your business or accustomed to the culture of your business, force at times is necessary, but you are not going to use force throughout. Food for thought, though. How do we influence others? Intimidation. It's also a way of influencing others, intimidating others, using your, your strength or the opportunities you have over others. Belittling people or negative psychology on people. We are saying at whatever level there can be negative force, but we do not want to negatively influence others at any one time. Manipulation, manipulating others until they get onto your mix, into your box. You have seen, maybe you have this person who, unless you do that to them, then they are not going to be part of your team. But what you're saying is that at whatever level, we do not want to also be leaders who always influence in the negative, but all those are ways of influencing also. And a leader will inspire, motivate, and lead people to accomplish organizational goals. So if you can inspire, if you can motivate, if you can also mentor others positively so that they can accomplish, even as you grow them, organization goals, then you're on the right leadership as leader, or on the right place as leader. And that is what you would strive to be. This is what you would strive to do at one time. So it is work. Influence is work. The abilities is being able to have interpersonal communication with your team members, conflict management, because conflicts will also be experienced at the workplace. But how do you manage conflict as a leader? Or do you have measures, or do you have mechanisms to solve conflicts at the workplace? And also problem solve. So in order to be effective, to be an effective influencer, then you have to have a mix, or to have a balance of communication, management of conflict, problem solving, amongst other things that you will do. You will humanly be able to do within your ability, so that now the rest becomes the responsibility of those who are your followers, or those that you are leading, those who will now fit in your shoes effectively, so that they can be tomorrow's leaders. So it's work. It requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of you believing in yourself, believing in your abilities, and growing yourself every day. Growing yourself, and being ready to also grow our team members so that we can grow our organization. I have done a lot of talking. I want us to take a small break. And in this small break, because I know you're also tired of, you have also listened a lot. This break will take 2 minutes. And I want us to focus on an island survival. We are stranded for 3 days. In that island where you are stranded, I want you to just choose one thing that you will have with you. Assume you have been told that you'll be going to an island for 3 days, and we don't know when transport will be available. So you go to the island being so sure that you will get, or being ready, or being prepared. Let me use the word prepare, that you may get stuck. What is that one item that you would have to carry? And as you tell us that one item you'd have to carry if you're going to be stranded or alone, why would you choose that one item? For the fast thinkers, if you do that in less than 1 minute, you tell me that one item and then you do it, you say why you would have that one item, then you also assume that you have crashed in the mountains, but you are the only survivor. What is that one thing that you will carry with you back to the show? So I'll give you a 1 minute, 2 minutes a break to do that, and maybe to take some water, and then we continue. So time, 2 minutes. It is exactly 11:34. At exactly 36 minutes, we come back. But in that 2 minutes, we are thinking about that being stranded and what is that one thing that you do if you are stranded. So let's think about that, and then we come back. Okay, our 2 minutes is over. Asmaira, what is that one thing that you would have chosen?
So Annabelle, for me, it's many things, but let me do this. Let me read you some of the comments that have come in.
Okay.
A lot of answers for water, a lot of answers about a Bible or a Holy Quran, just to get through. There are other answers, mobile phones, so that I can have enough credit and data. People have said they'll take money and start a new life elsewhere. Some of the answers are a knife or a machete, food, hope and determination is what I would carry with me. People have said a knife so I can be able to hunt for food and even build shelter. We have Pauline who has said my phone, it will help me search for directions or contact people for rescue. A lot of answers on water for survival, because water is the one thing you need to survive in 3 days. And you can also use it for other things if you get injured or to clean. People have talked about carrying a map, a matchbox, a power bank, a debit card. I don't know why, but someone has talked about a debit card. That's definitely the essence of all the answers that have come in.
Wow. Thank you very much for giving me that feedback, Asmaila. Thank you. I can see we have true leaders. True leaders. These are true leaders who are so sure that they even need a credit card. And I know that credit card would be DTB. Wow.
But of course.
I can see I see water. I see hope and determination. Wow, that's someone who really is concerned about their welfare. Mobile phones, although of course if you're Australia, if you have a power bank with a mobile phone, loaded, well loaded. Yeah, those are good dots. Matchboxes, yes, to keep you warm. I believe with enough matches. And a compass, yes, a compass, a map. Very true, very true. This is an answer that I get many times when I give this test or this break. at least has taken us away from the deep leadership talk that we've been having. And also it gets me, I have also seen that we are on board, that we are on track and we have been following. So thank you for the feedback and thank you for agreeing to take the break so that we can continue. Great, thank you. So I go on to the next thing, which is to watch something on leadership being around us. We have just come from seeing what the strength, the power of even individual thinking if you're in crisis. And so leadership is around us. We are going to watch this and we'll make comments after. You can see it to your end. Leadership is around us. Did you see that? Did you see the power of influence? Did you see the power of leaders steering their followers in the right way? Did you see the leaders being able to steer their followers and steer them or deviate them from danger? Did you see the power of coming together in crisis and overcoming danger? I believe you have been able to see that, and it calls for the leader to think, being able to think on their feet at that one point. If you see that ant that was going to be swallowed by the buffalo, but the leader was very, very quick in seeing this and being able to call the others together so that they could all form what they could most, and they formed into a very, very strong ball that was even able to finish their enemy or to disempower their enemies. And that's the power of a leader. The leader that has to think on their feet. I said influence is around the leader themselves, quick thinking. You've seen the followers who are ready to listen to their leader, or rather to follow instructions, and also the situation. So the leader has to connect early the situation and be able to think fast, so that the welfare of their members can be factored in, as well as the situation and being able to get out of danger. So I believe that has been able to also give you that the awareness, or rather like a confirmation of the need for the power, the leader being alert at all times, which takes us to the next thing as we end influence, on how is it that we approach, what is our style like, how do we approach leading those who are under us, what is the right way of leadership to our team members? How do we help them, or how do we support them to implement, to achieve the objectives of the organization? How do we motivate them by then incorporating all leadership styles? And just like I've said, influence is negative, can be negative and positive. So are leadership styles diverse? And in this case, I'm just going to look at the main three. Even as I ask us, what kind of a leader are you? If you look at what you see on the screen, I don't know what speaks to you, what will be the right leadership. I don't know what you see on the screen in regards to leadership. I don't know whether you see consultation as I do. I don't know whether you see backing orders. I don't know whether you see some others who are asleep in their office, but who also require some bit of waking up. I don't know whether you see others who want to be worshipped. I don't know whether you see others who are leading, who are reading, not leading, reading and maybe doing that continuously. I don't know whether you see others who are ready to, to guide using bar graph and charts, and facts, presenting facts to their teams. But in all those areas, all those are styles of leadership. All those are ways that you can impact on those that we lead and on those that we and the growth of our businesses. So a good leader learns what they can do to continually refine their leadership style. Continually. It's work, just like we have talked about influence, to continually refine their leadership styles. And therefore, I'll just touch on some of these styles, just from like the highlights of the styles, the main leadership styles, and maybe how we can use them for the betterment. And I'll just look at the main three, which is what Levin identified, the style of leadership, which the primary leadership styles that we are exposed to in business especially. And the styles that we are exposed to, or that we expose our followers to, are the autocratic leadership style, the democratic leadership style, and the laissez-faire leadership style. And I've said that an effective leader works on refining their leadership styles. And none of this is perfect. None of this is you cannot say that you dwell on one style of leadership, because you may lose on some other aspects of business. So it is good to have a mix of each. And how do we bring out the three types of leadership? So please, I agreed. I said from the start that I'm going to use many styles of learning, so that we do not get tired of just hearing me. So I'm going to play another clip. Then after that, let's listen to this clip carefully, because after that there'll be a quiz that we will do and answer together on the leadership styles. Okay, I'm about to play it. being a good leader, being a good leader includes or entails using all the leadership styles. We have had 3 illustrations of autocratic leadership, where the leader backed orders, and when they received a financial report that something was to be done, he just said we have to work 2 times harder, and they did not consult anybody. That's autocratic. Then we have democratic leadership, where the lady manager or the lady leader consulted with others. How do we increase our revenue, or how do we do things together? That's so it's a consultative style. Then we have the laissez-faire, which is a carefree. The carefree, carefree leader who really, so long as you work, it's up to you. It's how you do it or what you get into. Really, it's not their problem as long as there are results. But what are we saying? Just like the leader, they're just like the last statement in the video, that you should have an effective leader has all the 3 of them. And a style is a style because it's a behavior of the leader. And also, as we started, there is no one path to follow. So there is no one path. So what you're saying is that there are times that you're autocratic, there are times that you are democratic, there are times that you are laissez-faire, depending on your followers, depending on the situation, depending on your on also yourself, who you are. Quiz. What are the tips for successful leadership? These are things you can just think through. Tips for successful leadership, just thinking of how this is now going to take us 5 minutes. You don't have to scratch yourself so hard. It's just part of the class. I just wanted to see whether we have been able to watch this carefully. For us to see whether we can also connect, we can also relate, because I know we are leaders in our own spaces. What are the characteristics of laissez-faire? Even if you just told me one of laissez-faire, a laissez-faire leadership. What 3 things that the leadership style uses depend on? What are those 3 things that the leadership style used depends on? Or what is that one thing that you can just reflect on? What type of a group should you use? What kind of group of leadership you have out of those 3 that you use delegating and joining? Yeah, think about that. What type of group should you use consulting? Yeah. What type of group should you use telling and persuading? You're going to take just 2 minutes. You can just pick on 1, pick on 3, because it's going to take 5 minutes of our time. And maybe do all. And because I know we are keen on what we are doing. I know we are able to do this. As Myra can assure you, if you are not less than this, if you are less, I would have put us in groups and we do this together online. But now, in the interest of the numbers of the participants that we have, and also the limited time, I just want, even if someone is able to do 3 or 4 questions, and maybe at the end we are also going to see from the chat box what they are able to, what response they are able to give. But this is just a tease for us, because remember, we are doing this module is supposed to help us impact better, or to be able to impact effectively on those that we lead and on our businesses. So this is just like a reflection. That's why I called it a quiz, so that we now ask ourselves, do we understand the 3 styles well? What is it? What are the 3 styles dependent on? And when should we maybe use some of those? This I've given you on delegating and joining, consulting, telling and persuading. Where would it fit most? In which style would it fit most? Let me give you the 3 minutes so that you can Okay, I believe we've been able to answer one or two to just check on us. And the quiz is so good that the answers were right next. I want us to see whether we've been able to think through. And then we share what it was, what is it that maybe is outstanding in every need. But I know because we are different, we may have given different responses. The three things that the leadership used dependent on is, of course, the willingness to lead, ability to accomplish tasks, and the ability to establish and maintain relationships in the group, in the teams that we are leading. And I know because many of who have done this who did it have been able to have something around that. The characteristics of Lysa-Fire leadership is a leader who sits back, the group takes control, has little communication, and has no control of the group, or really does not care what happens so long as there are results, but they take a back. That is Lysa-Fire. And I said that it should be a mix of all the three. What type of group should use delegating and joining? Small groups. When you have small groups, or you even have leaders who you have brought on board, highly motivated groups, high tolerance for ambiguity, and strong sense of independence. Those are the groups that you should use delegating as a leader and joining. You're almost like working at the same level, and it's also a way of encouraging them to do much more. What are some of the characteristics of autocratic leadership? Like in the first example, telling people what to do, backing orders, secures independence upon them or her, and there is rare group work. So it is about a leader who just says, they say and others follow. And I believe because we did this, these are some of the responses that we got, and I give a clap to all of us. The tips for successful leadership: maintaining the tasks, the capabilities of group members, involving different and various tasks, monitoring progress, admitting mistakes. I've already mentioned all these, evaluating tasks, using creativity effectively, and expressing appreciation. And you can see the key of this is maintaining the task to capabilities of the group members. Empowering your followers. Remember, influencer, all those aspects of influencer, very, very critical for successful leadership. And also exposing your teams to different responsibilities so that you grow them. And what type of group should you use should you consult? When you have large groups, motivated groups, also you can consult with them, representative groups, and also people who have great experience and maybe have been on the job for long or have worked with you for long, you can consult with them. What kind of groups should you use? Telling and persuading, when of course you have deadlines, people who meet infrequently. If maybe you only meet your teams every once a month or every once in 2 weeks, infrequently, and infrequent can be diverse. Large groups, passive groups, people who are not moving, where maybe unmotivated. So you can use telling them, you can persuade them, and telling can be you can give direction, and you can also use them as a way of persuading and influence. Persuading is also a way of influencing. And characteristics of democratic leadership: sharing decision making with a group, clear cut, and has also good communication. So having done that and having done the quiz, I know we have done very well, and I congratulate all of you. I want us to go to authentic leadership. Having now seen, we have done the styles, we have done influence, we have also done the skills, and we have also done we have done all those aspects of a leader. What makes a leader become effective? And having done that, then we are going to, and having also looked at how to lead or how do we lead, can now look at authentic leadership. And when we talk about authentic leadership, what does that entail? Is leadership that focuses on transparent and ethical behavior. Yeah. It's a leader who is transparent, who is ethical. And later we're going to also see, as the last item, we're going to look at ethical leadership. encourages open sharing of information needed to make or maybe to arrive at decisions. And as they do this, about even as they are transparent and they are ethical and encouraging input from others or open sharing of information, they are not stuck. They are not. It's not information does not stop and end with them. They are open, but they also accept followers' inputs. In other words, they are clear. They are focused, but they also accept followers' inputs. And I think this is something that as business people, we should really look towards being leading in this regard, because transparency is very critical, and also being ethical. And also experts agree that authentic leadership is about being who you are, but making room for others. It's about being clear. It's about being self-aware, but also you don't even about being even as you also are aware who you are, then you are also making room for others. That you're not autocratic. And the authentic leader is defined by the qualities of purpose, as values, the heart, connected relationships, and self-discipline. What is purpose? Understanding of yourself and your passion, which define your leadership. That is now the awareness, that you know what you want, and you have the passion, and you also are clear what defines your leadership. That's the purpose. Values. What are your values? And what are these values constant even under pressure, or are they shaken? Do they still remain the same when you have to make changes? When you are facing a global crisis, that's what you had. How are your values tested? That's the authentic leader should be very, very clear about that. Has the heart. You lead compassionately and empathetically. Yeah. Having concern for your constituent, the people that you lead. Compassion is very critical. When we did the clip, the last clip, the demonstration of laser fire, the leader was being told about one of the team members being in trouble, but they were not for that. That is not empathy. You should lead with compassion and having concern for others. Connected relationships, which is very close to the head to heart. Connected relationships that allow you to build trust and commitment. And as you lead, others are able to follow. And then lastly, self-discipline, which is very well connected to the purpose, allowing you to compete successfully because you know your purpose, you understand what your passion is, and you understand why you exist, why your business exists. Self-discipline allowing you to set high standards, holding yourself and others accountable. And when you have been able to do all the other, then self-discipline becomes very, very easy. When you have connected relationships where people are united and they trust your leadership and they are also committed. When you now lead them with compassion and empathetically, and you have concern for them, where your values are well defined and they are usually you are very clear on those values, both as an individual and as an organization, then self-discipline becomes very, very easy for you, because the standards that you set, then you are as you are accountable, even others are accountable to the discipline or to the standards that you set. So the authentic leader aligns people around a common purpose and inspires them to peak performance. It's about understanding you and understanding also empowering others. Uniting them around a common purpose and value, so that people will get to know what is expected of them. The authentic leader also empowers people to step up. And when you're able to when you're supportive of them, when you have compassion around them, when you are authentic, and when you are also you are concerned about their well-being, and you empower them, then you allow them to step up, so that they are highly motivated, yeah, and they give their best. You allow them to be accountable in their own space, and also lastly, they serve their constituents or those who are those who benefit from their from their business. They serve them with excellence, and also including of their direct reports, the customers, and even if you have partners, you serve all of them equally with excellence. So authentic leadership is something that we should all strive to have, and that have clear understanding of ourselves, but also being able to support those that work with us and that will support our businesses to grow, and also serving with excellence with all those who do it for us. I know we have taken a lot of time in the other quiz. This is something that we will do towards the end, the mind game, so that I wanted us to still, so that we don't get so tired, but we'll do this towards the end. I want to go to ethical leadership. And ethical leadership is where we are asking ourselves, can doing good be good for your business? Ethics. Is doing good being good for your business? Now we know that we know why our businesses exist. We know we have purposes that are clear. We have well-defined goals and objectives. We have brought our followers we have empowered them, and they are able to help us achieve much more than we should. But are we doing the right thing? Is it good for the business? Are there times that we get tempted not to do good? Are there times that we are tempted to cut corners? Are there times that we are tempted to do what you do is not right, or maybe do things that we later regret for our businesses, and leading at times even to the closure of our businesses? Ethical leadership is very critical, and we cannot talk about leadership and not talk about ethics in leadership. Nothouse has 5 principles of ethical leadership. You'll find that ethics, influence, authentic leadership, the skills of leaders, they all revolve around not just you and your business, but others. And so ethical leaders respect others. Ethical leaders serve others. Service, being of service to others. Ethical leaders are just to others. They uphold justice, and they connected with honesty and upholding integrity. Yeah, ethical leaders build communities. The people, when I talk about in authentic leadership, I have talked about serving with excellence our constituents, and our constituents also involve our communities. Our businesses should be able to serve the communities. The impact of your business should be felt around your community, around those who are recipients of your businesses, and those where maybe your business, where it is located. Those who are in need. Communities can be put in many forms, even being able to support others to grow under your mentorship. Those are also communities. Giving back to our communities, giving back to the society, that is also serving constituents. So that is what ethical leadership entails. And as an ethical leader, when you do this, you gain a power of ethical trust. And this ethical trust is resilient. When you serve others, when you uphold integrity, you serve communities, and then you are able to build trust with those who you work with, and also high perform. And they also leaders who are ethical, then they get results of high performing organizations who are able to also compete effectively. So ethical leadership is critical to the results of a business, in the eyes of the society, in the eyes of the industry where your businesses exist. You are able to compete better. You get a competitive advantage over those that you are in the same industry with, when you uphold ethical ethical practices. Now, ethical leadership offers sharp examples of how values and hearts of people guide day-to-day activity, but also support them in pursuing strategy consistently, reliably, and flexibly, even in the face of unforeseen events. There's a certain pattern that comes with ethical practices. There's a certain purpose. There's a certain pattern that comes with the hearts and values of people, or who are led ethically, or leaders who are concerned about the ethical practices, reliability, and flexibility. So ethical leadership then helps leaders to not only have strategy, be able to support the strategy of the business, the structure of the business, and the culture. Yeah, and when you're talking about strategy, which was done in phase one, it's a never-ending preoccupation. It's something that you have to keep referring to every so often. And this is now by being guided by the strategy of the business and the right strategy, then you are able to have a sustainable, you become sustainable in a competitive advantage. And that is not just a one-off, something continuous. Ethical leadership is being able to mirror humanity, where you're thinking about the people that you serve and those who, the society, those who are recipients, those who are less fortunate. Yeah, coordinating people and resources through inspiration and motivating others. And for you as an ethical leader to be successful, even your own personal ethics and trustworthiness have to also be clear. You are seen as somebody who has a good standing, in the society, and who is also trustworthy, who is trusted by others. And it's a special, it brings a special type of trust, and like I've already said, a competitive advantage. So what I'm saying is that there's a very strong connection between ethics and trust. Ethical organizations that are led ethically are trusted, and you'll find that there are people like like even partners who will look at the standing that your organization has, of course, given the support or the leadership, where starting with the leader. And that's why I said you as a person, you also have to have a good standing ethically in the society and by those who even know you, including your competitors. Yeah. And so when you stick to your principles, even in the toughest times, like maybe saying no to bribes, saying no to cutting short corners of paying revenue or whatever you are meant to do, or renewing your licenses, all those things, they help you earn trust and credibility. And this is what every leader should work towards. So it's about building communities, it's about showing justice, serving others, honesty, and respect for others. That's the emphasis I want to make about ethical leaders or ethical leadership. So you find that I'm saying there's a very strong correlation between ethics and trust. And trust is a bond of the society. I've said in one of the key components of ethical leadership is having communities. So trust is a bond of the society, and every leader should be looking towards having that bond with the society, where you can be trusted, where you can be looked upon, where you can be, you are credible. People can speak, can speak on your behalf and speak good things. And I'm also saying that trust is hard to earn and to build, and it's also easy to break down. It may take time to build, but very easy. It takes one activity or one act of maybe dishonesty to break that trust with people who have trusted you, including even us as banks, even our partners in the bank. If maybe we are going to have these facilities that are so attractive to us, but we are not honest in our returns, we are not honest with the payment of those facilities, then that can take that trust being built or being taken away by just one single act. So we are saying about being able to uphold all those ethical aspects and wear them at all times, just like you wear the leadership attributes. Because deception is a very dangerous enemy of trust. When you become someone who deceives others, who deceive your customers, who even deceive your members of staff, then you cannot be taken to be in good standing. And so a business culture then that will actively reject deception in all its practices and uphold it even with all those that you connect with, including the followers that you have, then you're going to be in good standing, and you're going to have that credibility and maintain, and you can be trusted. And even those who wish to partner with us, then don't have to look any further, because we have already demonstrated it. But I've said it takes time to build, and it's also very easy to build, to break down. And what does trust encompass? It's reliance, it's sincerity, it is competence, it is credence, it is assurance, it is commitment, it is integrity. So much, and most of those things we've already discussed them. And so what can an organization, or what can a leader do? Can a leader do so that they are taken to be ethical? It is, of course, it is active inquiry. Every so often ensuring that you are following up what happens in matters of relation, in matters of even dealing with clients, in matters of even dealing with the institutes that you partner with, checking of information to ensure that everything is done at the right time, assessing evidence. Remember, one of the components is justice, to ensure that the evidence that you have and across maybe with our partners, with our clients, and also assessing whether good reason for trust exists, and if they do not exist, what can we do to become more and more trustworthy. And of course, ethical leadership entails also moving as far away from deceiving others, from deceiving ourselves, which is now a prime enemy of trust. But it can also be something, if it is allowed, if we just allow a crack of it, a slight crack, it will later become a practice that will now destroy the confidence that others may trust in you as a leader and you as an organization. So what you're saying is that as leaders, we've got to uphold ethical practices, and even as we place trust in others, we also would like to be trusted. And of course, placing trust is risky, not trusting is also risky. So you're better off just having upholding the ethical practices, so that we as authentic leaders, we are all around, we can be trusted upon, and then it will also be easy for others to even grow our businesses, because when we want to partner with others, they will not have doubt in us. So ethical leadership entails driving out fear and eliminating issues driving out of also fear in those that we lead, and those ones that cannot be are not positive or are not leading to the practices that show the organization is having a good standing. It's about also developing, articulate, and upholding high moral principles. Yeah, as building a culture that, of course, does not have that upholds with every of the followers or the people that we lead, they are morally upright, focusing on what is right for the organization as well as for the people. And when you talk about what is right, it's about even as concerning others and the communities that we serve, the government, and whoever else that impacts on our business or our businesses impact on, setting the example so that others can live by. If you have competitors, they will be the place where others will benchmark, because we are to be trusted, we are credible, we have all that it takes, setting the example. Being honest with self and others, And yeah, being honest with self and others, establishing and communicating ethical policies, which is of course a beginning. As policies that of course are ethical, have a good standing, and in a society, and also in the industries where you are, and being able to communicate this. Zero tolerance for non-ethical practices, and also where there is violation of the ethical practices, then have zero tolerance for that, and that becomes part of the organization culture. Rewarding ethical conduct, of course, treating everyone with fairness, dignity, and respect from the lowest to the highest level of the organization, and of course, does the right thing both in private and professional life, even if no one is looking. And this is what your brand is, the right thing. When others are not seeing, in where you are clear, you are authentic to yourself and to others, even when you're not being seen by others. And so, for all that to be possible, it starts with self-leadership. What is self-leadership? For all these things, all those components that you have brought in of ethical leadership, influence, of the authentic leadership, the right skills and the right attributes. It's about making self-care a priority. You have to love yourself, maintain positivity, planning your days well, being alert and watchful for stressors, and preparing for difficult situations. Because for you to be able to be a role model, you've got to also be conscious of yourself, to be able to be conscious of where we are and where you want to be. I started by asking us, how can the leader effectively influence? How do we rate ourselves in the ethical eyes? In which area do we need to improve? And this is something that you can make a reflection on, even as I end this module, by just asking us that, and as key takeaways of what maybe of what you have learned, because I wanted to end this session at 20 past. I'm almost there. The key lessons that you can take is about being able to develop a vision that motivates others, and to move with passion, with a passion, and also have a common goal, leading by example and having the integrity to do the right thing, even if it is not popular. Emulating leadership as three things: listening, yeah, and inspiring others, influencing our teams effectively with or without force, wearing the right attributes, aligning our teams around a common purpose, and even being able to provide mentorship for the same, upholding ethical leadership, and taking care of your well-being, which is self-leadership. Before I end, I would like to maybe have feedback or a Q&A as a session where people just share any feedback that you may have before we end the session. And I want to hand this back to Asmaira, so that she can tell us that there is anything that has been on the chat box that we need to respond to before I end the session.
Wow, thanks, Annabelle, for that very, very, very insightful session. Key takeaways from me, specifically to do with the attributes of the leader, and all the things you talked about. Specifically, what resonated with me is how leaders should be empowering their teams. And from the three styles of leadership that you mentioned, I know we talked about how all of them apply depending on the situation, but I think for me and most people, from what I've seen in the comments, talk about how the democratic style of leadership is probably the one that resonates most with everyone. Being cognizant of time, allow me to just pick on a few questions. For the rest, because of time, Annabelle, I'm sure you'll share your contacts as well, and we could probably find a way to get to all of them. But first, let me say a lot of positive comments that I can see coming in the chat. Let me start with a question that I see here from Mariam. And Mariam talks about if you're a single business owner and probably don't have employees, especially at the beginning stages of your startup, how does leadership come in, or what could you do to make yourself a better leader, just being new and not having very many people within your organization? Annabelle, maybe you can take that one.
Okay, thank you very much, Mariam, for that. Indeed, when you're a startup, you just started recently, and you have just you and maybe one or two people. This is the best time for you to do leadership, because your organization is not going to remain the size that it is. You're going to grow, and so once you bring people on board with that power, with that information about wearing the right attributes as a leader, and about also how you will empower others when you bring people on board, and mentoring others. Indeed, it's just a beginning with you. But with all these lessons that you have said in mind, we said that there is never end to learning. As you learn more about business, you will be able to impact on those that you will, to others that you will impact in your business. But above all, I also want to talk about self-leadership, Mariam. Self-leadership, which is what I've said, it starts with you. And you got to also take care of yourself, avoid the stressors, because there are many stressors in business, avoiding those stressors, and also taking care of the well-being of the business, even as you also uphold ethical practices. So in other words, what you're saying, it's a good beginning for you. And having taken this module, it will empower you even as you grow, and even as you lead yourself as a person who is behind that business. And I know that your business is not stopping there. You grow, and when you bring more people on board, you will have what it takes to empower them and to lead them effectively. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Annabelle. Let me move on to my Biru Mwangi, who has asked, is there a tool that can gauge how good or bad a leader you are? Or perhaps any kind of tool, just to show you what kind of leader you are and how to improve?
Yes, I would respond by checking, I would respond by letting you know that this actually should be something continuous. If actually we had a module 2, I would have taken you through that tool. And the tool that you can do first is, I say that everything starts with you as a leader. It's about your personality, understanding how you lead. I would recommend that you do, there's a tool that I call MBTI, a personality test. MBTI personality test helps you understand you as a person, and also helps you understand how you impact or you come across to others. So if you went online, you just look for MBTI personality test. It helps you understand you as a person. It also helps you understand how you come across with others. And actually, it also helps you understand how you come across with others, even in other spheres of life, not only in business. So it's a very critical component of self-awareness. It helps you understand you, and also helps you understand how to even relate with others, and even helps to guide you on the kind of leadership you should take, so that you can have results, and so that you can also remain sane to be able to carry out your business. So that's one of the tools I would recommend. It's something that I use whenever I have leadership sessions when I have more time, I give leaders this test, and then we discuss results. But it's something you can do on your own. Back to you, Asmaira.
Great, thanks, Annabelle. Maybe you could put down that tool on the chat, just for people to get a view. Let me go with one more question. We'll make this the last question due to time. And we have a question from Jacqueline. How do we maintain ethical leadership in the face of unfair market competition?
Wow, indeed, in the face of unfair market competition, especially, I said leadership is about, remember, as I started ethical leadership, I asked, is doing the right thing good for your business? Yes, I would want us to still uphold ethical leadership in the face of unfair market competitions by being you want to be, what I said, the benchmark. People will benchmark with you because you're doing the right thing. You uphold ethical practices, you are more credible. People trust you more. And at times it may be costly for the business, but because maybe at times we are presented with opportunities where we can easily cut corners. And when you cut corners for the present, and when you cut corners for the present, we forget there is tomorrow. And credibility and trustworthiness of our business, which is what I've really dwelt on in ethical practices, is something that is not we are not looking at the present. But if you want a business that will survive the test of time, survive crisis, and live beyond today, then we will uphold ethical practices, even in the face of unfair competition. And at times when we have policies in place that have zero tolerance to non-compliance of ethical practices, then you will eventually become, okay, first of all, more credible, which is trustworthy. You'll have people who will give you more opportunities of business, and then you become the pace setter for others that are in your life, in your industry. And maybe in time also you'll be able to overcome those unfair practices for the better of your business. Hope I've answered you well.
Yep. Thanks, Annabelle. So again, due to time, I think that would be the last question that we took. We do still have a lot more questions. We also have a lot of comments on the chat box, Annabelle, and credit to you because a lot of compliments coming in, a lot of good feedback. So thanks for that. I've seen a lot of queries on the slides and the recordings. So let me assure every single person that's here, you will get a link to the recording, and you'll also get the presentation sent to you on the email address you've used to register, probably within the next day or two. Allow me to end by announcing that Module 2 happens next week. Module 2 is going to be on digital marketing. So we're going to be having Francis Waithaka, who is a digital marketing expert, come in next week on Thursday, same place, same time, same link as well. For those that have, for all of you who have registered. So thanks Annabelle, and thanks Roslyn as well, and the KBA team and the Inuka team for facilitating this with us. Much appreciated. I hope everyone has learned a lot, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. The part of MBTI, I'll put it in the slides.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Bye.